My husband and I were on a date when his mother barged into the restaurant and demanded, "Why wasn't I invited?" I'm 29, married to Marcus for 4 years. His mom, Diane, has been insufferable from the beginning. She criticized my career, my appearance, my housekeeping. Little digs like, "You're going out without styling your hair? Interesting choice." Or, "I wouldn't have picked that color, but it's your decision." She had a spare key to our apartment and would let herself in on Saturday mornings while I was still in pajamas. Once she walked in and said, "I stopped wearing things like that around men years ago." When I begged Marcus to establish boundaries, he'd brush it off. "She's just concerned," or "That's how she shows love." Marcus consulted her before every decision. We couldn't even buy a dining table without her approval. If we planned a vacation, he'd verify the dates didn't interfere with her schedule. She criticized everything: how I organized the pantry, how I seasoned chicken, even my laundry methods. And Marcus would just sit there nodding, letting me absorb it every time. Last month, Marcus surprised me with dinner at Bellini's, where we celebrated our wedding. He said he wanted to rebuild after months of tension. I felt hopeful. Maybe he finally understood how his mother was suffocating our marriage. I dressed up, applied makeup carefully, wore that navy blue cocktail dress he always complimented, straightened my hair. The restaurant was beautiful, candlelit, intimate, filled with couples speaking softly. We ordered wine, laughed about his office party story. Server brought warm focaccia with olive oil. For the first time in months, it felt like we might recover. Then I heard that piercing voice behind me. Why wasn't I invited? Every head turned. There stood Diane in her floral print jacket, bright lipstick, enormous handbag, glaring like we'd betrayed her. "Mom." Marcus went rigid. She marched over like she owned the establishment. "You said you were having a quiet evening. You didn't mention coming here. I've been wanting to try this restaurant." Then she fixed that icy stare on me. "You didn't consider including me. That's quite selfish." Then Marcus did something unforgivable. He glanced at her, then at me, and pulled out the empty chair. "Just sit, Mom. It's okay." I stared at him, praying he was joking. He wasn't. He actually signaled the server and requested another place setting. That was the moment. 4 years of being diminished, of being sidelined, of swallowing my feelings every single time. I stood calmly and said in a voice that didn't sound like mine, "You two enjoy yourselves. I'm finished with this marriage." The entire restaurant went silent. Complete silence. No conversations, no clinking glasses, no background noise. Everyone froze. I walked out without looking back, took a cab to my friend Sophia's apartment. Didn't return home that night or the following 2 nights. When I finally went back, Marcus was waiting like I was being irrational. "You humiliated me," he said. "You chose her," I replied. He tried backpedaling, said he didn't want drama, that she would have created a bigger scene if he'd asked her to leave, that he panicked. "You could have defended me like a husband," I said, "like a partner, like someone who actually respects his wife." He had no response. That's when I went silent. No more discussions, no more pretending normalcy. I stopped sleeping in our bedroom, stopped cooking. He barely acknowledged it. Or maybe he did and simply didn't care. I stopped engaging entirely. No arguments, no crying, no pleading for change. I just went quiet and started mentally cataloging everything I needed to arrange. 5 days later, I returned home to find a note on the counter. Diane moved in to help us through this difficult period. She's in the guest room. I walked into what used to be my guest room. Diane's clothes were already hanging in the closet, her makeup covering the vanity. She'd mounted family photographs on the walls, every single one featuring Marcus and her. Not one included me. On the nightstand sat a framed photograph of Marcus as a toddler on her lap. Beside it, a mug, declaring, "World's greatest mom." That's when I understood this wasn't about one destroyed dinner. This was a calculated invasion that had been orchestrated for months, possibly years. I packed my belongings and left permanently that night. I discovered later from our building manager that Diane had been spreading stories to neighbors that I was experiencing an episode and she was supporting her son through his wife's mental crisis. Some mothers-in-law don't just want involvement, they want replacement.